Um, I'm still working on it, but this is what I got so far. Um, it's just the original Harbor Freight sheet metal brake, and then um, there's another YouTuber on here that modified one of these, and I kind of copied, and this is what I got. I'm gonna add some stuff on the back. So right now, you should be able to see it. These brackets on each side make it so you can, you adjust it depending on the thickness of metal you're putting in there, and they're actually bending because there's no support here. Build a little gusset down here for this just to ride on. It's not going to get welded. It'll get welded to the frame, but this will just rest. So I cut all this stuff with just a bandsaw, and I got a cheap like 7 1/4 inch miter saw from Lowe's, Cobalt, with the Diablo metal blade. I cut all the 1/2 inch plate with it, and then even put the bevel on the face of these, which will sit flat and stuff like that. I did have to grind it because the saw, it's a cheap wood saw essentially, so the metal was a bit too much for it. So I had to kind of resurface it, and I still got to do some fine tuning, but they're removable. They're supposed to be all spaced evenly so you can rearrange everything and have it sit, the way you want. You know, battery powered drill, and just marked it so everything's kind of out of whack. So I stamped, number one to this top plate, is welded. So, I just correspond the numbers for each finger to the spot on there. And then I added this extra lip here to help put some more pressure on all the metal bending up instead of just on that little like 3/8 lip from the factory part. Um, and then I did have to extend the handles. So obviously, you have these little like 4 inch handles on here, which are terrible to bend up. So these are, I think, 1 1/8 or 1 inch, probably like 1 1/8 square tube to slid over, and then I slid it. Whoops. It slides just underneath this plate, so it's welded here, welded to the original handle, and then onto the metal plate itself, the main plate. And then since I had the fingers on there sitting, you can't really see, but it sits like 2 inches past the original like plate die for the bender. So I had to put these plates on there to lift the whole top assembly upwards. And then I just put a new bolt for this, welded a new, pretty much like a pin to ride on the bracket on the inside. And then you should be able to see this. Right underneath, this is the original part. I added this plate because it's just hollow right there. So there's not really a lot of, I don't know, there's not a lot of strength right there. So this was actually bending a little bit from just trying to bend like 16 gauge, 18 gauge steel. And with all this stuff, I was able to bend the full 36-inch 16 gauge sheet. I'll show you what I got. I ended up bending up. So this is the piece. I tried to make a rocker panel for my truck, and out of one piece, but all these bends, it was just too much for this brake. So I ended up doing two parts. I did just like a kind of like a C channel, and then this lower profile. But I was able to bend the whole 36 inches and bend it up pretty decently. I think once I get that stop to prevent the whole top section from sliding back, I'll get a crisper bend. And then once I resurface the fingers so they're all sitting flat and putting even pressure on it, because what was happening, the ends pretty much from each end from here to about here was good, but then in the center section there wasn't enough clamping force, so it kind of shifted a little bit and then bent up. But so that's what I got. I was gonna put a little drawing together so you guys can try and copy what I did, and then I may try and produce a kit where you can put this together. But it'll come with the side plates. Would be, I got a CNC plasma cutter, so I'll cut them out on the CNC and then provide a bolt, the pin for both brackets, and I'll probably put like etch a mark where the assembly will get welded to, and then all the fingers, I'm going to see what it would cost to get them like laser cut, so everything's nice and precise, and then come up with a pattern so you can move the fingers around. And then so it'd probably come with the side plates, the fingers, all the bolts you need, and then depending on shipping, because it's a lot of steel, maybe I'll just have it so you would have to source the 2-inch plate here for this piece. I'll probably throw in the side ones because it's light, and then your handles of your liking. The lip I can probably toss in because that's, I think, like 1/8 inch, 3/16 thick, I think. It's pretty light, so I can probably package all that. But if you guys are interested in something like that, just comment and I'll see if I can put it together. And then I want to try and come up with a drawing you can print out, so you have all the spacing, the measurements for everything, so you can just pretty much go from a cut list and put it together yourself like that. But this thing's pretty sweet now that I could bend some thicker stuff. It bends 1/8 inch really nice. I bent like a 2-inch wide, 1/8 inch thick steel, and that bent really nice. 1/8 inch. So 1/8 inch, bent it up pretty quick. I got some like 14 gauge aluminum I can stick in there. This piece is about 10 inches wide. I mean, aluminum's nice and soft, but that's what I got. Just about 10 inches wide. I think like 14 gauge or so thick on aluminum. So that's it for this video. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. Thanks.